What's up, brothers and sisters? Trump is a genius, and I'm going to tell you why. If anybody is familiar with the Battle of Gettysburg, I'm going to do a comparison relating to Pickett's charge. On the third day of the battle, General Lee come up with the idea of firing the biggest cannon fire against the enemy that has ever been done. And it was over 100, I believe it was over 100 cannons. And, excuse me, driving here. 100 cannonballs raining down on the enemy. So the barrage began, and every cannonball landed everywhere but on the enemy. And so Pickett's charge began. Over 13,000 men marched against a hail of cannon fire and bullets, and it chopped them down to nothing. There was stragglers that got away. It was an ultimate failure by General Lee, one of very few failures that he had. And I use this in comparison to why Trump is a genius. Because when they announced that, when the Democrats, the socialists, the terrorists announced that there was Russian collusion, Trump knew that there was no collusion. Trump knew it. And as smart as he is, he knew, okay, go ahead and spend all your time. Take as much time as you would like accusing me of something I didn't do. And it was a trap, because if the Democrats tried to create a lie and put something together that was not true, Trump was ready for it, and that would have made them look bad, very bad, and show that they were nothing but deceitful criminals. But at the same time, if they went ahead and he just watched go through it, he stood by his words, no collusion. It's funny, Maxine Waters says, Trump always said no collusion, no collusion, no collusion, planting it in the American people's heads. Well, that's kind of ironic, considering that on the other side they're saying collusion, 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 collusion. It's no different. Maxine Waters is so weird. But anyway, so then you have, so while all this investigations are taking place, what is Trump doing? Doing exactly what he said he would do. Now, some things haven't been done yet, but you know, you're not going to do it all in one day. But he's doing it. And so what has he done? Women's unemployment is down. Black American unemployment is down. Think about that. Have you ever heard Obama come out and say that? No. The wall is being built. Investigate me for something that's not true. And now, what's happened? The Democrats don't want to admit they blew it, don't want to let go of the fight, and they're still trying to rain cannonballs down, which is hitting nowhere, going nowhere. And meanwhile, Trump is just sitting there, I'm just waiting to unload my cannons on your charge. I'm waiting to unload the cannonballs on you. As you march towards me, bam, 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 bam. I just keep knocking you down one after the other, just like Pickett's charge. They were getting rained upon and just brought down left and right. It's the same thing. You see, General Lee was firing on an enemy that he couldn't see. Why? Because he didn't have the right information. He didn't have the correct information. He didn't have the truth. And the truth was that there was an enemy that had the higher ground. There was an enemy that was fully prepared, and he wasn't. And so he was just firing cannonballs in the air, hoping that he'd hit something. That's what the Democratic Party's doing. They're just firing lies in the air, hoping something will land, hoping something will stick. If you ever watch all the Kamala Harris and some of these jokers, I don't even know, question good Americans, soldiers, generals, ICE, all these people, and they just come, and that's all they're doing is they're firing cannonballs in the air, hoping that these people would not be intelligent enough that they would end up falling for their trickery and their debauchery and to trick them into saying something that wasn't true. Then they could just take it and run with it with the media. It's the same thing. But Trump is sitting over there with the higher ground saying, bring it. Meanwhile, Trump is winning. He's winning. He's doing everything he said he was going to do. And the Democrats are just getting cut down. And they're too foolish enough to back off. You know, Pelosi, I don't like Pelosi. I think she says some of the most foolish things I've ever heard in my life. But she had enough sense, I would say, as far as a combatant, an enemy, combating another enemy. She had enough sense to go, well, this ain't working. Let's shift to health care. But you got brain dead Democrats over there that still think they're going to come up with something. And I promise you, Trump knows there's no collusion still, and the Democrats are still trying to say that there's something in the report that will show collusion. Are you kidding me? Do you not think that Mueller would have run to the top of the White House and shouted, victory, collusion has been found, if there was collusion? You don't think? I mean, what would his point be for 2 years and then closing the investigation if he couldn't come out and say, finally, we have the truth that we've been saying for 2 years? Do you really think, and I'm directing this to the Democrats, do you really think the American people are that foolish, that stupid? But go ahead, rain down those cannonballs of lies and deceit. You're hitting nothing, and you will hit nothing, but you're digging a hole. You're going to be cut down, and you're getting cut down big time with the American people, because American people are being fed up with it. You're going to have a bunch of foolish people in this country that's going to follow your lies and your deceit. And that's why you want illegal immigration to come over. You want a bunch of people that don't know no better to come over and join you so that you can outnumber the majority of good American citizens, so you can stay in power, so you can continue your lying, deceitful ways. But you're not going to win. 2020 rolls around, Trump will win once again. And at the end of Pickett's charge, the ones that survived that barrage walked off wounded, ashamed, broken, defeated. All he could do was put his hands and look at his men and say, I let you down. I failed. And that's what's going to happen to y'all. You are failing. The Democratic Party is failing, and the Trump Party is winning. That's the way it is. Because why? Because character, morals, integrity win. Why? Because the founding fathers were smarter than you. That's why checks and balances, that's why you're not going to defeat the Constitution that they put together. They were smarter than you. You can bring in Islamic terrorists and put them in the seats. They ain't going to last very long. You can bring in racist people like water, race baiters. Not going to last for long. They're not going to waters accomplish any other for the American people. Nothing. What has terrorists accomplished? Nothing. What has Kamala Harris done since she's been in Congress? Nothing. What has Ortiz done? Failed. No new Green Deal. That's it. That's all I got to say. Y'all have a blessed weekend. I'm out.